We are building the welcome message project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. In the last video, we saw a kind of like a high level overview of the validate function. We highlighted that we are using SC and NS as, let's say, the keyword arguments, and hence this dictionary prelim data has SC and NS as keys. Now, before I move forward, I want to take a slight, let's say, look at a different concept, which is that of a statement called assert statement. Now, assert statement is actually quite interesting. Basically, it's like, some kind of, you can think of this as an if else, but one that raises an error, right? So let's say, just take a simple example. Let's say my A is equal to 10. So obviously A is a variable which I have assigned to 10. If I were to do assert, let's say A equals to, say, for example, 10. Now remember, assert must get a boolean as a, let's say, as a statement that must either, result in a boolean. So A equal to 10 is obviously true. It looks like nothing has happened. But let's say I were to assert A is not equal to 10, then I will get what is called an assertion error. So basically, I can look at any variable or any condition and assert that condition. It's like asking, look, is this condition correct? If the condition is correct, well, nothing happens. That's like no error is generated. But if I do not have that condition correct, then an assertion error is generated. Now, you might wonder, why would I ever want to do this in my code? Remember, the reason is this, right? When I, for example, call a short form, short form is this. This is not a none type right now because I gave valid inputs. I can hence assert, well, let's say, so SF is not equal to, let's say, none. In fact, nothing will happen because yes, SF is not a none type and it's not which means that my previous step actually went off correctly. On the other hand, let's say I did the same thing with, a statement like, let's say, if I gave, say, for example, index of 100, I know that's an index error. So I get an index error. My SF is in fact a none type. If I were to try and assert SF not equal to none, notice this statement in fact equates to false because SF is indeed a none type. When I do this, I get an assertion error. Now we will use this basically in the validate function to figure out if my previous stages have been successful. Remember, the way we have written both the let's say the short form code as well as the name strength code, the return statement is only available in else, which means that if there is any kind of error, these statements will, functions will kind of fail, and hence the name strength and the short form both will be basically none types. So I'm going to assert, in the validate function, look, if this is not equal to none, if that's indeed correct, it means that the function went through correctly, no error is generated. Otherwise, an assertion error is generated. So we can use this quite effectively for, let's say, this kind of a code, right? So when we expect a value to be something, we can just go and assert that. If indeed that's correct, that's fine. Otherwise, we get an assertion error, and using, let's say, for example, an except statement, we can manage that error. And we'll see this in action later on. I hope this is clear, right? Now, you might wonder, why don't I just use an if else over here? Well, that's a reasonable question. But the difference really is that here, by just a single statement, I am able to generate an error, which I can then handle in an except situation. So it becomes more clear with an example, as we will see in just a moment. I hope this was interesting to you. In general, if you think learning this way with examples, with activity is fun, look at our website www.ybyte.in, because that is how we learn Python programming. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.